Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to give you 5 facts about a microphone that is my absolute favorite, my daily driver, the staple here in the home studio. I guess I've had it now for almost 3 years, the Neumann U87Ai. It's something that people consider a bucket list item, a lifetime purchase item. I consider it to be that way. I don't want to buy too many more microphones. Spent a lot on this one, hope to use it for many years, hope to get the results and the reward from it. But I also want to share these 5 facts about the microphone, things that I've learned after using it a bunch, literally every day for more than 3 years at this point. Number 1, this microphone alone, it will not do well in an untreated space. Let me just explain what I think happens here on a pretty common basis. Somebody's got a home studio, they realize that better equipment is going to give them a better sound. And that is true. It's going to give them a more accurate and detailed sound. So they might even go from dynamic to condenser microphone before they step up to something like a U87Ai. But the room that they're broadcasting in or recording in, streaming in, it's not treated. It's very echoey. A lot of reverberation, sound bouncing all across the walls or maybe a high ceiling or a wood floor. But they think that because you spent so much on a U87Ai, it's just instantly going to improve your sound when actually this microphone is going to hear more and hear better. It's going to reveal more flaws about the room you're in. Don't spend all that money on this to make problems you have in your room worse. Now, the good news is you can fix a lot of these problems with your recording space for not an extreme cost. Sound insulating blankets, or you can do what I do here in the home studio. You can build these panels which absorb sound. Rockwell Safe and Sound, they absorb sound. But you definitely need something to make your room acoustically better so that it doesn't echo. It doesn't have all the walls bouncing sound around that get back into your microphone. This mic is great. It's a great blank canvas to put some EQ and compression with, but if you put it in an untreated space, you're not going to like the way it sounds. You're also going to notice at first, before EQ, before compression, before any signal chain, how flat this microphone is. Now that's kind of a catch here because you want the microphone to be super flat. That's why you bought the U87Ai, believe it or not just for looks, not just for image, not just for whatever. You bought it because it's a really flat microphone. Why is flat good? It is like a blank canvas. That way, when you shape the EQ curve how you want, you get to decide where the cuts and the boosts go. Instead of being handed a microphone with its own inherent boosts and cuts, and you just have to deal with what you got. This microphone has a little bit of a push on the top end, but overall, from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, extremely flat. Now, you put your voice through it for the very first time without any cuts or compression or EQ, nothing, right? Wow, my voice sounds really flat. And most people will notice that it's mid-heavy because a lot of other mics they use already had a little bit of a mid-cut or some different cuts in it that do not exist here. Oh, this sounds different. And when I say different, not in a good way. Well, that's because you need to put some EQ on this mic. You can record without it, and it sounds okay, but you will notice how flat this microphone, in a good way, actually is. Trust me, you want flat. You just need to do something with it and not keep flat to get the optimal sound for your voice out of it. All right, this microphone and the TLM 103, they often get compared. I guess they look similar capsules, both Neumanns, both have a similar sound, but they're different. And the biggest thing I could say after using the TLM 103 for my first couple years here in the home studio, TLM 103 is more V-shaped, more amplified on the low and high ends. This one, again, it's flat, right? So there's your description. That's all you really need to know, but it's just smoother on the edges, the high and low end ultimately, because it's more flat. It doesn't have as much of a harsh push, especially up top as the 103 has. I don't mean to discredit the 103. Let me just say in this comparison, and by the way, I will have a totally separate video comparing and contrasting the 103 and the U87. If you can get your hands on a 103 as your everyday mic in a home studio, my goodness, for the price it costs at the time of recording, about $1,000, that is a tremendous value. It gets you like 95% of the way that the U87 does. So consider the cost and consider what it does. But the biggest difference is just that, well, there's a couple, but sound-wise, sound profile-wise, the U87 a bit flatter and smoother on the edges versus the 103, which is a little bit boosted and hyped in the low and top ends on the frequency spectrum. I will say that if you get this microphone, there comes the next question of how do you mount it? Well, obviously a boom arm that helps for shock absorption. You can bang on the desk. It won't make too much noise. But the other thing is the actual shock mount. I did dabble with the Neumann specific shock mount. I forget the model number for this microphone. The shock mount, which costs, by the way, kid you not, $400. $400. A $400 shock mount. No, thank you. Well, okay. I tried it out. It was just way too big and bulky. And it's the one you've seen. It's, kind of spiky and pokey. I don't know what the right word is, but it's metal. It's built well. It looks beautiful. It was just too big for me. It was too much. And it was $400. This is the Rycote Envision Studio shock mount, which holds this perfectly. I've used it for its entire time here since the beginning of 2020. Holds it well. Doesn't obstruct me from getting close to it. There is the Rycote like plastic pieces, but there's not kind of that nylon band that holds the basket in place, so you don't have to worry about changing anything. I prefer this shock mount. And again, I tried the other one. I tried it out and I realized, you know what? It's not just the cost of $400. It's the fact that I like this one better. So I tried it out. I sent it back. The Rycote Envision Studio, for me, is the best shock mount for this microphone. I think this is the last one. This might be your last microphone purchase. I totally understand the investment. I totally understand the decision of like, I've never spent this much on a microphone. I mean, this is like what a really good computer costs or a camera costs. But if you think about the everyday use of this, if you do plan to use this every day for 10 or 15 or 20 years, then divide the cost that way. Divide it, by 10 divided by 365, and then figure out what that cost per day is, and then figure out, does that matter to you to get that type of sound? And you know what? This mic, oh yeah, it's lasting way longer than 10 years. I treat it really well. It's never leaving this room. So knock on wood, this mic will last multiple decades. But I'm here to tell you that after buying this, and I was in the curiosity game at first, tried the 7B, tried the RE20, got a 416, a 103, you're bouncing around. Once you've used this, now granted, there are some other mics out there that intrigue me. The Austrian Audio OC818, the AKG 414, mics that I've never had, never owned, never used. I'd like to use them. Some Earthworks mics out there, the SV33, I'd love to try it. Shout out to all those companies, by the way. You know where to find me here on the channel. But I feel like what's going to unseat this guy? I don't know. There are other mics might sound great, might fit my voice great, but I'm sold on this. And it's going to take like something extraordinary to take this off the top of my mountain. So if you get this, here's another way to look at it. What if you tried 3 $1,000 microphones over time that you were not happy with, but you knew this would make you happy? Why did you go through those 3 mics that you now have to turn around and sell for a lesser value? Just get the one that you wanted, that you know is going to take you where you want to go. So those are my 5 facts about the Neumann U87Ai. Legendary microphone. I am thankful for having this every day here in the home studio. I hope that it provides you, as a viewer of this channel, with a sound that is up to a certain standard. So thanks for being here. Subscribe to this channel. I would really appreciate that. Also, thumbs up on this video if it provided you value. I can't wait to see you for the next one.